Right, so I'm going to start from the end of the Maamer. The end of the Maamer has a very interesting hira. It's a simple word, but when you look into the word, you realize that it's not just another nice hira and Shmak and Kudah and Chazer. Because stuff it's been used on the Maamer before, right? On the 10 sitting that precedes if you will. So something very unique about this Maamer, especially the Yachas to Maamer when you look at, is that the Maamer finishes off with a very, very clear and basic hira. Now, the fact that a Maamer has a hira is not always the biggest chiddush, but very often the hira can be very, very esoteric and very dakostic, right? And mamish, a person's avodah shouldn't be mitzad their nitzay, should be mitzad the atzmos. Very kind of like very, very, tifadargis and yonim. You had in the end of the Pasach Aliyah. It speaks about the bittul mitzad the atzmos, the chilul dasalim das tachtin, parshas nisim, the goshim nisim, and I don't know if it's a hira, it's more of an Indian of a bracha. Anyway, here, what's the hira here at the end? So, in Sif Yud Aleph, so he brings this nekudah of Avdi David, Melech Aleim, the loss of Melech Mashiach is called David. Why is he called David? Because David is bittul. And das bringt sich in them that mitzad echad he'll be on the greatest level, Tachas HaGadlus, and he learns Torah with Avos and Moshe Rabbeinu. The fact that he's teaching Avos and Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the Torah, and he's teaching Moshe Rabbeinu for statement and was for Adar I Melech Mashiach is, and yet he's with Tachas HaNova VaBittul, and he learns with the most simple people. Fine. So here there's like this Apia Yedua that all the Giluyim of La'asit Tluyim b'Maaseinu v'Avodaseinu Achshav, which this is a Yisoid, the Rebbe brings in Tanya, and the Rebbe's Torah is from the Yisoidei HaYisoidus, right? That everything that happens la'asid l'avodi, it's not the pshat, we do our avodah today, and we get some sort of schar, it's like, okay, do we got to do it? Mashiach will come. But rather, schar mitzvah, we have la'asid l'avodi is a hemshech of, and a gilui of what we have today. So kumteis, that our avodah, he has this lashon in Kudish and Yanosh Teres Chassidus and other places. Mischara neida mehosa. Right there he speaks about limud Chassidus and Gili Chassidus. Chassidus brings Mashiach. So you want to know what Chassidus is? Look what Mashiach is. If Mashiach is something. If Chassidus brings Mashiach, so you figure out what the mehosa Mashiach is. So you'll know what Chassidus is that brings Mashiach. Okay, what's the shaykhs? Chassidus brings Mashiach. Very nice, right? I use a $1 bill and I put it in the machine. It used to be $1, now it's $2. You put a $1 bill, you get a can of soda. So $1 bill, the previous is the can of soda, because one brings the next. Because that's one way, that's it, because there's a disconnect between what you put in and what you get out. When we say B'schar Neida Mehosa, we mean that Schar Mitzvah, Mashiach is a manifestation. It's a gilui. It is the Metzias, the gilui of what we had earlier. So, there it's very similar to here. There it says that what is Mashiach? Pnimius Atik, so maybe Chassidus is Pnimius Atik. Here's your Pnimius Akesed. So Mashiach, so Kumteis, that our avodah today, it's not that we do a bunch of things to bring Mashiach. We do a bunch of things that are Mashiach. Right? Milet Mashiach, mitut in Yonei Mashiach, in order to bring Mashiach. So if Mashiach is this bittul, the mitzadeh, that he's so great, on the other hand, he's able to learn the Menashim Pshutim. So what's the min in Yom Mishum Karm Maamer is based on Sheikh Limud Avatz Torah, the second to last line on the page here. Namely the Torah, previous Torah, L'Kol Echad Gal Menashim Pshutim. That's the first thing. The first thing is a direct correlation. Mashiach learns Tzad Echad the Avos HaMoshe Rabbeinu, yet he's able to have that humility to go learn with the Menashim Pshutim. So for every single one of us as well, that on the one hand we're Megala, and this is part of the Nekudah. Right? This is the two sides. Limud Avatz Torah, Nigla Torah, Previous Torah, the deepest secrets in Torah, all parts of Torah, and yet it's L'Kol Echad Gam L'Nashim Pshutim. We are able to. We'll go down to this more simple people. Yeah, you go with Tzoyim and you deal with Mamish Pashtiyid. Then he adds a word. So this word is Mamish the hemshech to the word of Mashiach. Mashiach will learn the Nashim Pshutim, will also learn the Nashim Pshutim. But then he adds, and this is the climax of the Maamer, the Pol Yoytz of the Maamer, which is a year ba'oifen da novo bittul. Because with Pashas you could say that what's that novel bittul of Mashiach that ever brings from the Friedrich Rebbe? The Chayyur that novel bittul drik tzechis in them, that's the fact that he learns with an Asher Pshutim. But the Rebbe learns Tifer. No. There's learn with an Asher Pshutim, that's also, that itself is a novel bittul. But then there's the Oifen HaLimud itself is also in the Oifen of a novel bittul begoli. The Hainu. And שהלימוד והפוצה צריך להיסלם בשביל האילו שנעשה על ידי זה והמלמד והמפץ מתלמיד היועץ מכולם, אלא בשביל המקבלים. And in a few words, this is the Techna of the Maamer about Derech Shenispair Le'el B'inyan B'Yadoini. That the learning, the hafotza, is done not for the ilui that a person gets, maybe the Malamed that teaches the Nashim Shulchan. So you could say you could do it for the gilui that he gets from it, the ilui. That what? We know when you teach someone, you learn a lot from Rabbi Yisrael, and even more Michaveiro, and as we learned earlier, that's what happens in Dibur, right? That after when you talk to someone, you teach someone, after then you understand things a lot clearer. But no, you're not going to do it for that, because that's not limud, oifin of tachas anav v'bittul. Rather, mishvil mekabel. Why are you going out there and teaching them? For them, not for you. For them, not for you. And this is the word of biyadoini. Right? That Yosef is mashpia, Yosef is mashpia, Zok is mashpia, Malchus mitzad Zah. But no, Malchus comes to Zah, Yehuda comes to Yosef and says, biyadoini. It should be for me, be. It's all about me, it's all about the Makabal, it's not about the Hemshech of the mashpia. And this is what brings Adar I, and this is what brings the Gilui V'Asala. Fine. So in order to reach this Gilui V'Asala, what do we? Basically, we have to be selfless. And when you're teaching someone, when you're going on Miftzayim, on Shlichus, it's not about you, it's about them. A very, very pragmatic, simple Hira. Not say so simple for Mekayim, but that's the word. So what's the Rebbe saying? So what's the word? Yeah, the Lange Maamer, a very Gishmak Maamer, a very deep Maamer, a lot of Yonim here, right? There was a Malchus, there's a kingdom, a lot of great things going on. And what's the Pol Yetzeh? And what we learned from the Maamer is when you're helping someone, it's not about you, it's about them. It sounds a shtickle, really? Avdi darf man the ganze Maamer? That you shouldn't be a selfish individual and because you should care about somebody else. That's the whole word. No, because organization, right? Sometimes you have that where on the one hand you have the Maila, the case, Maila, the Tachlis, right? The Maamer can read in Gor, and the Hira can be very, very simple and very, very Pashte Inyanim. It's Mushrish. But the Betachta Rangamis on what's going on here, and what's going on in the Maamer, and what's the word that Rebbe is saying here, so for state, it means the Sach Tifek. Right? So obviously, there's obviously that simple read as well. Tracht wegen the Zolas, Tachlis wegen sich. But what do we mean here by Trachten wegen sich? Right? After the whole Maamer, that's the Shlil of Trachten wegen sich. Zo, when we say Zo, Trachten wegen sich, really? Zo is selfish? Zo that Silas is selfish? So Malchus comes to Zo and says, Zo, stop thinking about yourself. It's about me. Wow. Zo that Silas, the midness of the Eibishter, are Pasha self-centered.
Huh? This part of the Maamer that doesn't even bring the Etzem word of meaning everything's a Hayra, they can Mashpil Zulas.
Yeah.
The Eretz doesn't even bring Hayra of just being Mashpil Zulas. Remember the whole Chiddush that watch people.
He brings Hayra?
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
So I'm saying this is the big Chiddush here of the Maamer, the Gross. Good, by the Rebbe, everything's about Ma'aseh B'Poyol, everything has to be, Agashmi. But the Hayra seems like the Rebbe is like. Say that you don't even need Torah. And people can explain to you that care about others. Don't. Not everyone is here to serve you. You have to think about other people as well. Save the planet. Care about that. Everyone has a thing that they care about. Now, the emes is that we say that it's nishnazeh in order to takazeh. It's not that simple to get out of yourself. As we know, the end of Perak Aleph Tanya, right? Somehow Alter Rebbe couldn't leave it till later. He had to put it right in the beginning of Perak Aleph, so that wherever you're teaching, when you do the Limud V'Afotza Tanashim Pshutim, you always get stuck in the Perek Aleph. So then you have time to figure out how to deal with Perek Beis. Right. So he speaks there about the difference between the Umas Ha'olam and the Yidden. So he's speaking about the koiches that exist, the midas toivis that are by a Yid. And what does he say? Where are the midas toivis in the Yid? Which nefesh? Nefesh Bahamis, right? Nefesh Bahamis, that by the Nefesh Bahamis of a Yid, what makes the Nefesh Bahamis of a Yid unique, the Umas, the Nefesh Bahamis of a Goy, is that our Nefesh Bahamis has also midas toivis. K'may Rachmanus, the most chsadim, shaboyis mimena, right? The Kod of Rachmanim and Goyim chsadim. So the Rachman and Chsadim exist in the Nefesh Bahamis of a Yid. Yeah, the Nefesh Bahamis also has Atzlos, it's Gaiva and Espiros, all those great stuff. But the Nefesh Bahamis could also want to do Chesed. And then he says, one second, and Umas Ha'olam, they don't do Chesed. Umas Ha'olam also good people. Was sagt man? Chesed, she'umas ha'olam oisim, ein anel yisyarechu. Right? That's the Maamer Chazal. Listen, it says Chesed lo mimchatos. When umas ha'olam do Chesed, it's chatos. Because sof it's self-serving. So Alter brings one part of the Maamer Chazal. Chesed is lisyair. The Gemara there brings kama in yon why the Chesed lo mimchatos. It's lisyair. It's for this reason. It's for that reason. It's there's all kinds of reasons why they do chesed. But there's an agenda. You get something out of it. That's the chiddush by a yid, not the nefesh halikis, nefesh bahamis. Nefesh bahamis of a yid has midas toivus, real chesed. What's real chesed? The zulas. You're not doing it l'siyah, you're not doing it for yourself, you're not doing it self-centered, you're doing it for the other person. So, so we're saying here that the basic chesed of a yid, nefesh bahamis good, is not l'siyah. Right? You're not doing it in order to walk all around and say, my foundation gave $30 billion to third world countries. You're doing it for the cause. So that's nefesh bahamis of the yid, and that's chesed. Now, to use it's a Kabbalah and Lashon of Maamer, chesed is zah. Chesed is the yisoid of zah, is the shayrish of zah. Chesed is the what's Lashon? Also kulu yoyim. All the midas come b'hemshech l'zah to chesed, right? Because that's at the core of midas. What are emotions? There's all kinds of emotions and feelings. But when we speak about emotions, right? What midas are the way I relate to zulas versus moichin is the way for myself. At the yesod of any kind of relationship, in any way I interact with others, at the yesod of that is chesed. Let's even say gvura. Let's take gvura in the context of sometimes you have gvura as hate. Every hateful relationship at the core is a love-hate relationship. Why? Because you can't hate someone that you don't love. Love is that point where I care about somebody else, right? It's not just me, there's somebody else here. Again, it's not dibur as we spoke earlier, it's not dibur, and I actually communicate with the other guy, but the fact that someone else exists in my life, that's chesed. Avdi. Only after you're important to me could I hate you. Could I fight with you? Could I be scared of you? Without chesed, the zulas doesn't exist. So at the yesod of any midah, this will also be midas hanetzach. Midas hanetzach, I'm going to crush you. Yeah? But midas hanetzach is because there's a zulas, there's someone here that's fighting you, menagid. But a person that doesn't have chesed, a person that doesn't have ava, someone that's very, very moichendik, cerebral, he's a shtikla geek, yeah? So there's no one else exists, bichlal. What's the shaykhis?
Midas is for zulas. Midas is for things outside.
Right. So that's the vart. The vart is that when you boil down what zulas. So when we say that it's for zulas, what ultimately lies there is this fact. So now I walk into the room, and I'm aware, right? I care about my surroundings. That care is chesed. Just like dibur is, I leave my metzias. So that's chesed is there, it's pashtus. My metzias doesn't finish right. Because the way gvura, what's gvura? Gvura is the aliyah, and it's skalmos within. So how does that work? If gvura is all about going deeper inside myself, right? So we're backing up. becoming more introverted. So why would Gvura be mushba from the outside? Right? Why should it care? It's like I'm backing away from somebody. It's like you're backing away. If you're backing away, whereas before Gvura, what do you think a person is stacked? Gvura, I go deeper inside. Where are you going deeper inside from? From a place that you don't care about anybody else. Rather, Gvura is a hemshich of chesed. Chesed is that nekudah, other people exist in my life. Okay, now how do I interact with them? So there's the tachas agili of chesed, where it's hashpah, b'poil, and feeling of chesed, ave, kiruv, and then there's richuk. But even richuk at the core is kiruv. But you're not nisrach from something that you're not close to. That's not meaningful to you. Anyway, so chesed is the yisoid of zah. So here we're saying that the Rebbe says that chesed lo umim tak is chatos, but chesed of yidden is chesed. You're able to do chesed. So you don't need malchus here, right? That's zah. Yeah.
Why can't it be selfish? Why is it always being aware of people all the time?
So you remember what I said just a moment ago. Now what? Say why?
So the fact that you're aware of other people that show this thing, you're not only focusing on yourself,
No, I mentioned that Derech Agav to bring up this point that in the Maamer we're speaking about Zah, and the Rikar we're being the Kudah Yisoy. But Zah, explained in Kabbalah and Chassidus by Rich, is that the core of Zah is Chesed. So the way Chesed is like the starting point of Zah, all midas are a Giloy of Chesed, and they all come together in Yisoy. So when we relate to midas, if you talk about a certain sphere, we'll either use the Yisoy or we'll use Chesed. So I just brought that Nikudah that at the core of midas lies the word of Chesed, which is that openness, that interest in others. Before we get into is the interest selfish or selfless, right? That's technical. Now I'm saying what the Rebbe says in Tanya. The Rebbe contrasts our Chesed of a Yid with the Chesed of a Goy. The Chesed of a Goy is Lisyar, and the Chesed of a Yid, okay, what we're saying here is not Lisyar. Like Kimavur in different places, in the Sichis, the Chayri you see by Yidin, that the Chesed can be ganz Lisyar. The people are they make a great note of putting their name and picture on the man of the year, the man of the Chodesh, that we'll speak about, yeah. Mitzvah Farsi mitzvah, but at the core of a Yid, at the core of a Yid's Chesed, there's always that var that really, I do care. They do care. Elamad say there's other parts of Nefesh Bahamas as well, so you have to calm that down, so you give it some candy, right? Now, you see over here, the Chesed is that. Now, what it says in the end of Pergal Tanya is Chesed Nefesh Bahamas. It's not very interesting. In Igeres HaKodesh, there are Tanya. In Igeres HaKodesh, or right there, it's coming after the calf. I guess you did it for the Zulas. Move on. So Igeres HaKodesh, Simen Yud Beis. We know that Igeres HaKodesh is all about tzedakah. V'hoya ma'isa tzedakah sholim, v'hoya tzedakah hashmi v'edach hadoilo. So there he speaks about the midas chesed that a yid has, and there he says like this: Uda zois. We know that Yisrael in their teva are achmonim g'rim lichsadim, v'pnei heyois nafsheiseyem nimshachos mimidois al yisbarech. Asher chesed goyver ben al midas adin v'agvora v'atzimtzum. We know that by Yidin are achmonim g'rim lichsadim b'teva. Why? Because their nefashis come from the midas of the Eibishter, and just like by the midas of the Eibishter, even though there's chesed, gvora, teferet, all different midas, but the chesed will be goyver al din l'mayla. Therefore, by a yid, even though we have chesed, gvura, etc., but when we say yidin are chasadim, rachmanim, rachmanim, gem right? We're also bali gvura. We have gvura. We're also ketferes rachmanis. We're also natzchanim. Yeah? We have all those other things as well. So why do we say that yidin are rachmanim and chasadim? Because in the midas of the Eibush, their chesed is goyver on other midas. Also, else chesed goyver on other midas. So when we say that the midas of a yid are nimshach from the midas of the Eibush, we're speaking about nefesh l'kiz and nefesh bahamas. Nefesh l'kiz, right? Our neshama is a hemshich and comes from Atzilus. Neshamas are all neshamas. Even neshamas the biyabet, so they're sourced in the midas of Atzilus, in the spheres of Atzilus. So there we say that the midas hachesed that a yid has, ba'etzem comes from his nefesh halikis. So this is something that the Rebbe discusses kama v'kama igros, and that's something later we saw it also in the Shimis al Tanya, the Shimis Yerush HaKodesh. The Rebbe also discusses it. But the Rebbe says that Shamati Makshin or Minu, L'cheira had this Perik Aleph Tanya go along with Perik Simi Beis Yerush HaKodesh. Is midas hachesed nefesh ba'amis, midas hachesed nefesh halikis. Or obviously we both of them have midas hachesed. But what makes Yidin Rachman Magrim Lichsadim? Right? All along, the Rebbe admits by Shanim, that also the Rebbe explains, because by Shanim is connected to Gvur and something. Also by Shanim, interesting part, the Rebbe says that for we're talking here what the Teva of the Yid. The Teva of the Yid were not by Shanim, were Azin Shabonis. By Matan Torah, the Torah was Mateshes Koichon and made us by Shanim. But by Etzem we're Azin, which is like by Yidin. You always see that Yidin are always they're always they're on the tightrope between Baishanim and Azim. And or we use the bush in the wrong place, so Azim is the wrong place. So the vart is, because here we're saying in Tanya, Mitzad Teva, we're not Baishanim. Mitzad Teva, we're Azim. The Torah made us Baishanim, and that became a Teva Shem. Now, so how do the two go together? What makes us Rachman and Gimel Sadim? So the Rebbe says in different letters, different ifadim, and the Rebbe says like this: that be'etzem we need both. On the one hand, we say it's not enough that the Yidden have the midas arachmanus and chesed in their nefesh ba'amis in order for them to be rachman and gimel chesadim. Why? Because just like nefesh ba'amis has chesed and tiferes, rachmanus, nefesh ba'amis has all kinds of other stuff, right? There's a atzlos, and has gvur, has all kinds of koyches. So why should we say that a Yid is rachman and gimel chesadim? We have many other things as well. The only reason we say that Yid is a Rachman and a Gimel Chesed is because at the end of the day, the Rachmanus and Chesed overcomes, is miskaber on the other koyches. So it will be at the forefront of what a Yid is. That won't be mitzad nefesh b'hamis. The reason we're that way is mitzad the Rachmanus and Chesed exist in nefesh halikis, and the nefesh halikis is mushush in the midas of the Eivishter. In the midas of the Eivishter, Chesed reigns supreme. Chesed is at the top. Chesed will always come in front. So also by us, our midas chesed always stands in front. Mitzad our nefesh halikis. Oy mazoi is what's Alter Rebbe writing Tanya in Perek Aleph nefesh b'hamis. What's that nigel? What's the nefesh b'hamis? The vart is fine. Nefesh halikis could be on a high. Nefesh halikis could be a lot of great things, but stuff where neshama beguf. And nefesh b'hamis, the Alter Rebbe says Perek Chavtes, he adam atzma, right? Our conscious day-to-day actions and the way we feel and think. So our nefesh b'hamis. If the nefesh b'hamis wouldn't be on board, if the nefesh b'hamis wouldn't have these midas toivus, wouldn't have access to it, then say the nefesh halikis wants to be a rachman and a gimel chesed, but we don't always know the nefesh halikis. So the fact that the nefesh b'hamis has the rachmanos and chesed within it allows the nefesh halikis to be niskala through it. It doesn't get in the way of nefesh halikis. But this that always the rachmanos and gimel chesed will win, and this is what the yid will always have a starker chesed that overrides his gvura and his other midas, is mitzad the nefesh halikis. So there's sort of this together. These two things come together. Fine. The poil, even though Bichlal, the Rebbe says this word, that the two work in tandem, they work together. There's a Maamer, where there the Rebbe speaks about Riches, about Ha'arav, the Rebbe's father, the Vladek, on Siman Yud Beis, speaks about Siman Yud Beis and connects it to Perek Lamed Zayin in Tanya. It says, "V'hoya ma'isat tzedakah sholem v'avodas tzedakah." There's ma'isat tzedakah and avodas tzedakah. It says, "Maseinu avodas seinu." Right? We said here in our Maamer that all the giluyim v'lasavavi are totally in Maseinu v'avodas seinu achshav. So the Vladek asks, "What is Maseinu v'avodas seinu? What's this double lashon? Sounds nice. Our ma'isat or our avodah?" So he says that Maseinu v'avodas seinu Perek Lamed Zayin, that this time the Mashiach comes and the giluyim v'lasavavi comes through our ma'isat avodah. Maseinu Avodah Seinu corresponds to the Ma'aser Avodah of Siman Yud Beis Geras HaKodesh. What's the Maseinu Avodah Seinu Geras HaKodesh? So I can get into all Arichas. The way the Rebbe explains it in the Maamer there is Ma'aser is when you do something that's mitzad So Chatchila, the way we understand it, is so Maisa is when you do something that's inside your teva. You're comfortable with it. What's avoida? Avoida is when you break yourself. So Chatchila, the way we understand it there is Maisa is when you do something that even your Shmahamis is comfortable with, and avoida you have to go beyond against your to break your teva and Shmahamis. Do a skata. The Rebbe says, you look at this, she's not speaking about Nefesh Bahamis, she's speaking about Nefesh Lekis. The chesed that Nefesh Lekis has. And there we say that there's two kinds of tzedakah. There's Maisa and Avoida. So what does it mean Maisa and Avoida? The Rebbe says like this. There could be a matziv that Nefesh Bahamis is uncomfortable with it, you have to break it. But yet, it's the teva of Nefesh Lekis. Nefesh Bahamis is not lazy. There's always Nefesh Lekis doesn't have atzlos v'atzlos. And Nefesh Lekis is not ruchni, it's aliki. So there could be something that your Nefesh Lekis is comfortable with. But if your Nefesh Bahamis is not comfortable with it, but your Nefesh Lekis is comfortable, it's still considered Maisa. What's Avoida? To break the teva of Nefesh Lekis as well. Right? Break the teva of Nefesh Lekis. The Hainu. There could be a chesed that Nefesh Bahamis is comfortable with. That's one level of chesed. But then there's a chesed that's too much for Nefesh Bahamis. Here we say, okay, Nefesh Bahamis is not uncomfortable with that, but sometimes a person can have a gili of the Nefesh Lekis. That's a skadra on Nefesh Bahamis. Sometimes that's our avodah, like the whole Tanya. To be magber Nefesh Lekis al Nefesh Bahamis, and then you'll do chesed that your Nefesh Lekis wants. So you're doing the rest of the neshama. But that could also be ma'aseinu, what the Nefesh Lekis is called. You have to go beyond the teva of Nefesh Lekis. So now like this. So there's the chesed of Perak Aleph Tanya, which is what Nefesh Bahamis is comfortable with. And already that is not Le'isiyah. Right? Because that's good. But then there's Nefesh Bahamis comes and says, Ad Kan. This is something I'm comfortable with, but there's something that's beyond my comfort zone. Comes Nefesh Lekis and says, okay, I can do that. And then there's a place Nefesh Lekis is even uncomfortable. But now think about that middle dark, where the Nefesh Lekis is Megala Itz Midas HaChesed, and does such chesed that even Nefesh Bahamis is uncomfortable with. Nefesh Bahamis over here, that has Midas HaChesed, but it's uncomfortable with. How about that chesed? Is that chesed that Nefesh Lekis selfish or selfless? It's of course selfless, Nefesh Lekis, but Nefesh Lekis. Even the Nefesh Bahamis can't be L'Isiyah, and Nefesh Lekis. So of course it's selfless. But yet, what's come to is that even the chesed Nefesh Lekis, it's chesed, it's zah. It comes, and the Vader says, right, that this chesed is nimshach mimidois of Yisbarach. What's midois of Yisbarach? Zah. And when zah does something, it's for Giloyim. That's what I was last week. It's for Giloyim. It's for the Gili, it's the Megala, the Blik Vol, the Eibishter. So now we come and say, Malchus comes to Zah and says, Bi Adar. Where are we being shoyl? Right? Which l'chleira, I'm saying it's exactly l'chleira. It's very similar to the Vardir and Vayekev. There's the avoid of the Nefesh Lekis, going against the time of Nefesh Lekis. Right. So honestly, we're speaking here about it's a sach tifer and more dakustik than don't be selfish, be selfless. Right? Because let's say Ayagid obviously L'Isyair is mufrich. Fine. So he's not doing it L'Isyair. He's not doing it to boast about it. There's doing it to boast, and there's doing something because I'm comfortable with it. But this is who I am. Isha Chesed. Yes, Avraham Avinu is like the dogma that's always brought in Chassidus. Avraham Avinu is the Isha Chesed. Avraham Oyevi, Avraham is the Isha Chesed, and Avraham Avinu is there out there in the midbar, and he's feeding everybody. He's even to the Arvim that are mishtachve la'avok shagam regleim the sichim chelik vav and sichim yidu shmois dir kafeinim. Then it breaks it down to three dargis in the Yerid, to the Arvim that serve the avok shal regleim or taxik. What's the avok? Serve the avok. Yeah. In other words, how low Avraham Avinu went. Avraham Avinu is there giving to everybody, and then the Leibusha takes up the shemesh kechoy mayoim. It's a scorching hot day. No one can do anything. Avraham should be so happy. He has 1 day of freedom. Never mind, he's in pain because of the bris. 1 day doesn't have to serve anybody. No one's here. It's not like anyone's dying. No one showed up. And no one's going out in the sun. And Avraham is mitzvah. Avraham is in tsar. It hurts him. Why? Because Isha Chesed, his life is Chesed. It's about L'Isiyah. His life is chesed. That's what he's all about. His identity is to be mischased. He can't be mischased. Who am I? It's Pasha B'tzah. He gives chesed, he has a title. Of course he's doing chesed for the zulas. He's doing chesed because he cares about the other person. He's not doing it to put his name on a wall. He's doing it for the other person. But what's the motivation for why am I doing it for the other person? Because that's bigger. That's my shlich, that's my agenda, that's my zak. You have a sikha, I don't know if the sikha is brought there or it's been in there, Fabrengen, Chaf Aleph of Tafshem and Dalet. The Fabrengen is brought, the Maamer comes. So, the Rebbe there, Fabrengen Mechlal is mamish a meirik Fabrengen. It's the Fabrengen where the Rebbe introduced the fourth darga of Shlichus, which changed Shlichus forever. If all the years there we got 3 dargas in Shlichus, 3 dargas, and how bottled the Shlichus to Mishaleach. It's the 3 finding themselves change every sikha, the diuk. But even Klali, is the Pa'ula you did, is that Mesiachas to Mishaleach? Or your whole Klei Chamais is Mesiachas to Mishaleach? Or the whole Shliach is Mesiachas to Mishaleach? How bottled, how little is the Shliach get in the way? 3 dargas in Shlichus. But here, the Rebbe Gereh, the Taka, 3 dargas in Shlichus, the highest darga of Bittul is Merdik darga, but there's another Bittul. We want the Mitzias of the Shliach. Are you there? Do you care about the shlichus? Are you just doing it because you're a robot? Are you completely bottle? Which is meridik. But ultimately, the shliach is not an eved. You want that the shliach should be a mitzias, and it should be your shlichus. You shouldn't just be a pocket, you should be a balesik. It's your business. Right? A 9-to-5 guy, you work very hard, you bring a lot of money into the business, you're the most successful employee. 5:01, the guy's out, he's on the subway, he's done. He's done with his family. A balesik, when you own something, it's 24 hours a day. You dream about it. You can't stop thinking about it. It's your life. So you have to care about it. It has to bother you. Therefore, they're dugma, l'mashal. You go away, ask a yid to put on film. So if you just did it because you're a shliach, because you did your shlichus, fine. See, I did my shlichus. You don't think of it. Okay, right? I asked him. He doesn't want. He doesn't want. But if it bothers you, the guy didn't put on film, then you go after him again and again, because it's your shlichus. It's not the Rebbe's shlichus. Which one? The Rebbe said the was it was a 180 from the whole Avon of what shlichus is. Well, the next years, they have Chazred and spoke about Barichas. This part is also brought in the Sichel and Sichlis from this Farbrengen. It's a whole Niklas Sichel there of the Sugi of Shlichus and Kiddushim. Anyway, so I would ask you like this. When you go from the 3rd darga to the 4th darga, let's say the Pachid and the Balesik. Yeah? The guy that's doing Shlichus because there's the Rebbe's a mensch, the Rebbe said to go out of Mitzvah on Friday. The Rebbe spoke about Bachar. That his time is a limit of Torah. Why do you go Mitzvah? He gives a craft. What's the I'm a ches. Like, wait a minute. At a bottom, he's going with tzoi, because that's what you want to learn. You have to close your sefer to go. Versteht sich, you have to do whatever. When you're doing a tzibur from the Sidrein, it's b'simcha b'tum livav. You don't do it with the craft. But you're doing it because that's montman. It's not who you are. Yinef Bahamis wants to learn. Yinef Shalikis says go with tzoi. Right? It's a shtickle, sometimes you have a shamas that tell you. Most bachim it's farket. Some bachim it's farket. But the Bahamis, this is our Geshmak, actually kiss. Now, so when I look at it and I say, okay, which shliach is more bottle? Because in the Sikh he's speaking about, it's also have the bittul, also have your mitzias. The mitzias of shliach, you care. But in the sprach from bittul, who's more bottle? The guy that's totally committed, kolin yoni is lamalis, the kavanah al yoina, the Rebbe's kavanah, or a guy that already identifies as a whole shliach, and he has a plan for the day, and he takes ownership. Who's more bottle? In bittul, the first guy. And that's the whole part. That's not enough. The darkness of bittul also need mitzias. But then the shaila is, but there's no way to look at it. Was heißt bittul? Was heißt bittul? Right, the shliach is in ganzen bottle to the mishalech. Okay, on the one hand it's bittul. But on the other hand, that's the mitzias of a shliach. What is shliach? Can we say the mishalech? When we say Zah is doing it, Zah's not self-serving. Zah's not self-centered. What is Zah? Zah is the midas that silas. It's oyer. What's oyer? Oyer is made on moyer. Oyer's whole meaning is legalis the moyer. Gila the kos. What is the chesed of the Eibishter? The chesed of the Eibishter is expresses the Eibishter. The Eibishter is the scholar in a way of chesed. Kol Yoni is the Gilui Likus. It's not himself. Just like our chesed. What's our chesed? It's a Gilui of our nefesh. It doesn't stand on its own. It doesn't have its own identity. It's the nefesh drip through that. So this shliach, yeah, he's batel, but on the other hand, he's a mitzias. He's a mitzias of a shliach. His whole mitzias, what's his whole identity? I'm doing my shlichus. Actually, I'm doing my shlichus. The koyach hamaisa, and my whole identity is an expression, a hemshich of the mishalech. So that's mitzias. It's a mitzias of a oyer, legalis. Then comes a shliach and says, one second, there's somebody else here. Right? It's not just me doing filling my checklist. Doing what I came here to do. No. I actually care about somebody else. So it's a bit of a character, there's an oxymoron here, because on the one hand, we're saying, well, no, you can't just be a robot, you can't just be oil, a gila the moir. You have to have hergeshim, you have to care, you have to, which is all number of mitzias, right? There's midas here, there's dibur, there's communication, there's the mitzias of a shliach, there's mitzias here. You're connecting to somebody else. You put yourself into the picture. But le'idach, yeah, that was just a tool. In other words, in order to connect to the zulas, you connect to the zulas, but your mitzias connects to the other mitzias. But we're looking at what's putzich abda. You left your mitzias of a shliach, and you connected to the zulas. Right? There's somebody else involved here. Bi'adoy. So in a way, so that's the verb. This Zah needs Malchus to tell it, Bi'adoyni, Zah doesn't know. Zah might even look at Bi'adoyni and say, there's a me, and there's a you, and there's a Zulas, there's a Kavanah. It's all a Kavanah. Right? I'm doing what I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Ich tu mein Shlichus, ich tu mein Zach. But the MSC is there's something deeper than your Shlichus. Right, that's the mitamidei, not mitamidei mikulam. That's the mekabel, the soif ma'asim machshava tchila. The shoyrish of the mekabel, the shoyrish of the zulas is a much higher space. It comes from a much higher place than the shoyrish of oir. The oir is mein on moir, but it's only mein on moir. It's not the etzem alei. The mekabel comes from the etzem. Now, for the Shiloh, wow. Pretty great. How could Zah go so out of himself? How could he tell a shliach to stop being bottom? Yeah, in a way. How do you change that? So that's what he says in the previous sifim, from some sifches. That's the Shiloh and sifches. That's the Shiloh, right? The Shiloh is how could Zah go out of himself? Right? Well, how could Zah be selfless? Really, that's the greatest Shiloh. You're asking Zah to get out of his bittul, because sof even Zah is mushrish in Atzmus. Now, how's Moshe in Atzmus? It's at the Kavanah. Fine, that's a sugi of its own. We don't have time for that now. But that's in the Chud. That Sof Zoh Oichet Hot has a shaykhis to that as well. Because that's the real Kavanah. Because the real Kavanah, the Kavanah Yoina is that it should be in the Tachten Mitzad Gidri Tachten. Right? That the people we help, the people we teach, aren't just there to part of the durchfirin of what our shlichus is. Our shlichus is there for the mekabel. Right? It's not that the Rebbe created shluchim, so because they're shluchim, we have to create people in the world to give the shluchim a job. Right? That's his job. This is that they can do their shlichus. No, there's a shlichus because there's a kavanah in dir tachtoin. Kavanah in dir tachtoin, and everything is mushush in the kavanah, including Zah. At the end of the day, everything, the Lashon Maamer, everything's mushush in previous akesed. Everything starts in Atzmus. Gilui also starts in Atzmus. It's all Elamai, Atzmus, in order for Dir Bechtoinim, and the Dir should be a Dir Mueres, should be a Lichtka Dir, it has to be Gilui, it has to be Tachtin, Bechulu. But they're all opening part of that goal. Because of that, we have that ability to taka is given sich. And what should be your thing? The Mekabel, Mitzad the Mekabel. Not only Mitzad that you're comfortable with it, not only Mitzad that you know it's your identity, not only mitzad that it's your shlichus. Mitzad mekabel. Okay.
says, Suyim, but I say it the same.
Yeah.
And it says it the same. It says it the
He
same.
brings up the same. Right, so that's the word. We have
I'm
the
just
word.
bringing my same. I'm just saying.
Masinu as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so the Rebbe and the Maamer explains why do we also eat Masinu. And some want now Voidish also in a way should come in a way of nice, that it becomes your Teva Shem. It becomes like you break yourself, you claim a Sichen, a Nes and Teva, Tazriya, a Chodesh, Rafish, beginning of Nissan, Tashman Tes. Tazriya Tashman Tes. Where do you see on Teva, Nes and Teva? The Chibur Nes and Teva, also there's Chelik Tazai, Chelik Yuzai, right? Tazriya Chodesh. Right. But the doesn't go completely this word. The Chodesh Mention was that there's Tashman Tes. It says this word that you have to get Nes, but the goal is that the Nes should come away from Teva. Which that's what Teva is. Teva is Nisim Tmidi, right? You become so comfortable with Teva, it's not Nes anymore. Then you have to have a higher Nisim. So at the end of the day, the same Shemina Oifin of Maasein. Break yourself, break your Nefshali kiss. That's the ultimate Maasein of Oifin. That's beyond the Teva Nefshali kiss, and that's what brings you, and that's what gives us the beyond. Well, that Maamer in Noye Eker, it was saying Maasein of Oifin brings the two levels in Las Lavai, the Kufa Shem and the Kufa Shnia. Here, what does he say? He doesn't get into it. He just says, what does it bring us to? Okay, that is Adar I, David Avdi, the Sikh Chelik Lamed Hey, of the two levels lost right? Melech and Rav. So here also you see it's two kufras. The Avdi David and then David Avdi is Nasr, right? Avdi David is the first kufra, David Avdi, there you go. David Avdi is the Nasr and Loyal, the second kufra. The first Mashiach will be Melech, then the only thing that will stay is Rav. Yeah? It's a meritic of her, don't sit there. The Mashiach has two in Yonim, Rav and Melech. Melech will win the wars right in the beginning and then he's done. That's it. What happens next? Long term, and this is the Kufa, I don't use that close to the second Kufa, but the second stage is Kufa. Right? What's going to be Lo'ilam is Nasi. Melech won't be Lo'ilam, because Melech will be enough, we don't need him anymore. How does that fit with what Chassidus explains? Melech, Lassalav, but anyway, but Lo'ilam is David Avdi Lassalav Lo'ilam. There's the kasher to the two Kufa, we'll see they'll be the same. Fine. That was Maamer's committee, as we call it. Because the word Maasein, it should be Maasein also. So Takasana, it should be those we shouldn't do everything as we call it. Darm Zayin. Oisayem is Beishuem, it's a Sefer Teva Lava. Okay, anyway.